shit.
Sorry.
I walked out of that movie
Absolutely
exhausted.
insane.
I fell down.
Listen,
the
there's
stairs.
only one word for this
I
movie,
fell down
and
the
it's
stairs.
Homeric, okay? As
Oh
in
my
Homer,
God.
Greek epics. Have you heard of them?
It's like
Wait a minute.
Sergio
Okay,
Leone.
stop. We're not going to go anywhere if we keep talking like this. I know we're all excited, but we have to talk one at a time. Okay, Joel.
Hey, everybody.
Joel's back.
I'm thinking I'm back.
And this time, he is back.
I am actually thinking I'm back.
You had a bit of a premature I'm backulation last episode.
Yes, I did have a premature baculation. I'm thinking I'm baculation last week. When did you think of that joke?
Goof.
I don't know.
Just now?
At some point today.
Dude, you're going to listen to Joel's stand-up comedy in a few months, and it's like, premature. Whatever you said.
I steal that,
Baculation, yeah.
Yeah, everybody, it's good to be back. It's good to be Wick. We're killing strangers.
Yeah. Joel saw this movie last night. Alex and I are just coming from the earliest showing available, 12:30. Mm-hmm. We got wicked down for 3 hours
We've
straight.
become full-blown Wick heads.
Yeah.
And I have forgotten everything about John Wick 4 because today I watched Shazam! Fury of the Gods and Screen X.
Oh, no. I've always wanted to go to that.
Yeah.
Was it your first Screen X experience?
It was not my first Screen X experience.
Damn.
Do you want to guess what my first Screen X experience was?
For the listeners, Screen X, if you don't know, it's a Cineplex thing. Maybe it's in the States, I don't know. 270-degree screen. So you got a movie screen and then two other screens on the
wall,
side that I guess have
peripherals. It's like you're not supposed to focus on them. You focus on the screen in front of you, but it's kind of out of focus on the sides. It's kind of more stretched out. It was very bad for Shazam 2 because it didn't seem like there was a lot of work put into it.
Right.
But for the first one I saw, it was kind of the perfect Screen X experience because
I have an idea.
this filmmaker had lots of zooms. A lot of production design in this certain movie.
I think I have an idea.
Okay.
I was going to say Skinamarink.
That would have been
the special 270-degree Skinamarink
of just noise.
Fuzz.
Maybe you see something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Was it Elvis?
It was Elvis.
Yes.
Oh,
So
nice.
I thought about that when I saw they were playing it that way, because I figured if somebody's going to do it, it's Baz.
Yeah,
It's
it was
Baz.
good. It was
Yeah.
Baz did it well, but did not have this. There was one shot in Shazam when Zachary Levi was fucking flying through some city buildings where they actually made use of the Screen X technology, but otherwise it was bullshit. I do think that John Wick 4 maybe not the first time you see it, but it might be cool in Screen X because the sets are so insane and the lighting is incredible.
I could see that being really good. Had you seen the first Shazam or no?
I saw it in the theater when it came out, but I didn't remember anything. And now I'm a few hours out of Shazam 2, and I don't feel like I remember anything. I walked in thinking about John Wick 4, walked out thinking about John Wick 4.
And that is the power of cinema. Yeah, absolutely.
It reminded you how good the movie you saw the night before was.
Yeah.
A movie so bland
that
it made you appreciate the movie from the night before.
Well, it's just funny too that Zachary Levi is looks like he's going out of his way to show everybody that he's not a cool guy, that he's like a loser.
Oh, lately?
Yeah, he's just going. I mean, the whole DC universe is like a total mess, I guess.
Anybody passionate about the DC universe should be
hung,
shot.
drawn, and quartered. Bring out that old-timey punishment.
Yeah. Well,
what's he been doing recently that's been so cringe?
Oh, he's just I don't know. He got divorced, and he's got that divorce guy kind of energy, and he's like, trying
posting a lot of selfie videos.
And a lot of videos being like, "Hey, put me in your movie," like.
That's interesting.
And he's mad at The Rock for not being in Shazam as Black Adam, I think.
Yeah, because Black Adam's supposed to be one of the main villains for Shazam, and then he wanted to make it a hero, and the Rock does the very same thing where he's like, Black Adam was a ginormous success.
Yeah.
It was better than every other movie that's ever come out.
Here are the numbers.
We've got the numbers. Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate. I feel like divorce guy energy could be like one of two things. It could be like Kirk Van Houten, Simpsons reference of the day. You can either have that energy or John Gosling, if you remember that guy.
Oh,
from John and Kate plus 8.
Oh, yeah.
When he got like 2 diamond piercings and started DJing, and apparently was just like a real Vegas sleaze bag.
Yeah, that's too bad. Why do people like that get a show? Where's our show?
Well, because they had 8 children.
Alex and Ben plus 8. We'll adopt 8 children.
Alex and Ben plus Joel.
Alex and Ben, but yeah.
Plus 8 children.
Plus 8, yeah. three men and
8 babies.
8 little babies, yeah.
3 men.
That's
How
great.
many of them will survive?
Yeah. That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Anyway, you know what else is a good idea? John Wick 4. Really,
it's a great idea.
Really good idea.
A lot of good ideas all around.
Yeah, and it's been fun catching up with these movies. Like I said in the first episode, I had seen the first one when it came out. I saw it in theaters. For one reason or another, I didn't see 2 or 3, even though they got good reviews. And I don't know, but I'm really happy that we chose to line it up in the franchise for 4, because seeing 4 in theaters, I mean, it's quite an experience.
It was either line up John Wick or line up Shazam. And frankly,
yeah,
I will say there was only me and the person I was with in Shazam 2 Screen X, and then 2 other people.
Nice.
That's nice.
And how many people were at John Wick 4?
It was in the biggest cinema probably in Scotiabank.
Yeah,
the biggest regular cinema.
Yeah,
you
weren't in IMAX.
We did not go to IMAX.
You saw 2D.
Yeah, 2D. Yeah, not in IMAX because I don't think it was. I don't think it was filmed for IMAX, so it'll just be a really big screen.
Optimized for IMAX.
Optimized, right?
I heard an interview where Chad was like, "Go see it in IMAX." He's like, "I want people to see it in IMAX."
Yeah, IMAX is so even if a film isn't filmed for IMAX and doesn't have the aspect ratio changes, I'm pretty sure the picture quality and sound are just kind of better too, right? Like I think it's just a better projection system and
it would be it's a loud movie. The sound would be insane.
These are loud movies.
Yes.
Yes.
I think to your point about not seeing the John Wick sequels, I can see somebody watching the first John Wick and being like, "Wow, what a perfect movie. Like punches above its weight. It's so much better than it has any right to be. Knows exactly what it is. Why would they need a sequel? We don't need a sequel, right?" But I think that's where the franchise becomes what it is, which is like
absolutely
100%.
Is in the sequels, right? Like
I think to bring back the metaphor. It's when you compare it to video games. I think sequels have a lot of stigma where in the movie world sequels are worse. In video games, a lot of the time they get better because they know what worked, they ditch what didn't, and they like improve the mechanics of it. I think that's like actually what happened with like John Wick. You know what I mean? And I think the sequels, I enjoy them more than the original. But
I think I like all of them more than the original.
I'm thinking I like them. I think I like the original a bit more than 1. But
right, or more than 2, you mean?
But more than 2,
right?
Yes, more than 2. But I love the sequels. They're so good. It's such a good franchise.
And this one literally kind of went full manga. You know, like this one even takes place in Japan for a portion, and there's
Yeah,
he's got a lot of influences on this one.
Definitely,
there's a lot of. I don't even know if some of them are direct homages, but there's just there's a lot going on in this.
Yeah,
one.
so right off the bat,
homage list.
Well, yeah, well at least the first one where they call their shot, as we were talking about with the Buster Keaton things in 2 and 3. This one, you have this beginning. John Wick is punching his whatever post or whatever. Yeah. And the Bowery King, Lawrence Fishburne, comes in and he gives his little speech or whatever. He lights a match and he blows the match out, and it's the match cut from Lawrence of Arabia, blowing the match out and then going to the desert sunrise as you see 4 horsemen on the horizon, obscured by the I know we were talking about how it's pretty lofty, I think, to do that, to call your shot with the Buster Keaton stuff, but in keeping with the stunt things, it works. This is
that's even loftier.
They're going for it. Yeah,
it is an epic.
It is an
movie.
epic.
There's a lot going on.
Homeric
script.
You like that?
Yeah,
that's a $5 word. Homeric.
I think you mean homoerotic.
Yeah, no.
I think the most.
It's not really though.
No, it's not.
That's the only complaint.
You don't think it's homoerotic?
There was a moment between 2 characters where I was like, "This is kind of hot," but I forget who they were. Was it Bill Skarsgård and someone else? I don't know. There was an intimate
Shamier.
moment where someone puts like their hand over someone else's hand.
Oh, when he stabs his
When
hand?
he- yeah.
No, not that
Wasn't
one.
that?
No.
Yeah, that was the classic bit of
Right.
gore for us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're not homoerotic.
Dude,
I don't think
they're kind of sexless though,
Yes.
right? I'm not,
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
I'm not,
sure.
not saying that in a
The
bad way.
movies
but
are sexless,
The movies
yes.
are sex. Yeah, yeah.
So are we gonna do spoiler-less talk? Or are we going full?
Let's just call spoilers now because
Yeah, let's say
Yeah.
it now.
I think we're too jacked up. Like
Not to
There's
spoil.
no way. Yeah.
we
there's-
just say our like initial thoughts and then get into spoilers?
Let's do that.
that's
yeah.
very considerate of you.
Yeah.
My
I agree.
initial thoughts are it's the best of the franchise. It's one of the best movies of all time. And
Yes.
I think it should win Best Picture. I think they should go back in time and give it Best Picture for the last 10 years.
All right. Nice. Okay.
It's one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my life.
This is great. This is exactly what I hoped you would feel like
Yeah.
because
It was just incredible. There's just so much
excellent.
going on.
All right, Alex. I mean, we don't all have to agree
Yeah,
that it's the
you
best
don't need-
movie.
you don't
I don't
need to
I don't
be
think
on
it's
my
the best
level.
movie ever made, but
I know. I always just feel like I'm the wind out of the sails guy, but
No.
that's a role I've been playing my
Yeah.
whole life. But I really liked it. I thought it was great. I was telling you once it wrapped and we were sitting through the credits to see that juicy end scene.
oh yeah, we'll tell you about it. We'll
What?
tell you about it.
Oh.
It's not it's
Like
just
all
a-
the credits?
the
Yeah,
whole way through.
at
Yeah.
the very
I
end.
did not know there was one.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I wish
I
I
was
could-
about to leave.
We're going to have
but-
to take a finger for that one.
Yeah, sorry. You're,
Oh,
you're
go
yeah.
ahead. You
Yeah.
can stab me in the middle of my hand.
Yeah,
and I'll
sorry,
pull it
dude.
out. I'll do a brand so I can hear what happened.
Well, we were talking about that too, about getting franchisees brands if you want one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, everybody who's guests on the show
Yeah.
gets their brand for free.
Yeah, I already gave myself a brand. I thought that was a
Yeah.
thing.
Oh,
If you're a
cool.
franchisee, you got to pay for it. Sorry.
But I really liked it. I like the whole series, really, 2, 3, and 4. So what this movie made me realize was I was watching it and I was like, this is going to be like a solid John Wick film. This is going to be on par with number 3, like a solid film.
Yeah.
But then there's a whole movie's worth, a feature-length movie's worth, the last 90 minutes in Paris, that is a 5-star action movie.
Yes.
And I realized, like, without the, like, opening couple hours to establish some of the characters and establish some of the scenarios, it wouldn't have hit as hard. But that sequence at the end, like, alone, like, I think elevated it for me a bit. Like, and it made me realize that, like, I think clearly in my mind, I know we're going to do the rankings at the end, but I think I still like 2 the most because what I liked about it was the big reveals of the world. I had a lot of fun with that.
We didn't know what we were getting into.
Exactly.
I see.
I like those surprises. But then that Paris sequence at the end, I think might have elevated this one above number 3 for me. So I think like it would be like 2. We'll get into it at the
we'll
end,
get
but
into
like,
it,
I really dug it. I think 2 still ekes out, but yeah, that closing, it's a full movie's worth. The Paris sequence,
Yeah,
it's essentially a full movie's worth. And
I mean, so we don't have the benefit of like have the movie having been out for a while to time what's what and to look up how many people he kills. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's some freak has
Yeah,
already
yeah.
gone through. I'll double check and see if we have that info available. But
Don't unplug your phone by accident.
I won't. Yeah, it's a fucking nightmare. Steve Jobs, I know you're listening. I know where you are. It's hot
ghost
down there.
dimension.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
inside of the Zoom recorder.
Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, it's like at the very least the last third of the movie or something, right?
It's
like maybe 2
immaculate.
hours. and
Even
then
the setup
50
towards
minutes
it
of-
is very compelling.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think some of the greatest emotional beats in the franchise are in the lead up to that.
I would agree to that.
Last few action scenes.
100%. And I think, like, yeah, once they get to Europe, like, I like the Germany stuff too. We had a lot of fun during the Berlin stuff.
fucking
Yes.
kidding me?
So-
It's
yeah.
so good.
It's so good,
yes.
yeah.
It was very fun.
But then Paris, like, to me, took it
I
to like
thought
a
the
whole other
Osaka
level.
stuff was incredible.
And that stuff that was a great opening for
Yeah.
sure. Like
okay,
a great,
you were just even just
Okay.
like list. Sorry,
yeah,
yeah.
maybe we should call spoilers.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying. Even just listing these things, we're like, I'm so focused on the Paris thing, and we're like, oh yeah, Berlin, oh yeah, Osaka. There's
Yeah.
it's like 10 different movies. Yeah,
well, I think there were like 3 major set pieces. Actually, Ben, why don't you give your thoughts first?
right. Well, I mean, it kicks ass.
Balls to the wall.
I'm
Wicks ass.
I'm an academic. I studied film in university. I have a film degree, and I can say it kicks ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kicks so much fucking ass.
I think I was very impressed. I was trying not to let the hype affect me, but I couldn't really sleep last night. I was
Thinking about John Wick 4.
I was pretty excited.
Just rock
I was
hard.
excited to see it. Yeah, I was rock hard, and
I know I did. My text did not help.
Yeah, Joel sent me a text at like 12:45 that was like, Ben. And then you said, holy, with the periods between holy fucking shit. Yeah. And yeah, I was really excited. So I haven't really slept.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed. I think actually the standout for me is Donnie Yen.
So good.
Just because, like the Mark Dacascos is great in 3. Who 2? I guess maybe the villains aren't quite as strong. Like I like.
Common's
really
great in it, though.
Common is really good in definitely. And Halle Berry in 3, of course.
You got Alfie Allen.
Yeah, Alfie Allen. It's maybe slightly less memorable. I think Donnie Yen is amazing in this movie. I think that whatever the characters maybe are kind of underdeveloped because that's sort of this movie. They're a little stock.
They're
right?
archetypes.
They're archetypes. Yeah,
but and we kind of bring our baggage to it, and they know that we're doing that.
Yeah, and I just think it was so like effortlessly cool. His character and the way he operates and owns people.
Oh my god! The first. Okay, let's
We
say
all liked
spoiler.
it.
Spoiler. Okay.
Listen, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen John Wick 4, pause it and go watch the movie and come back.
It's a fun movie. You won't regret it.
Yeah, you won't regret it.
So let's put a pin in the Donnie Yen stuff because
We're going to come back to that.
I don't think I gave my John Wick origin story on the last podcast.
Oh.
And I kind of want to talk about that if that's okay.
I'd love to hear it. Yeah.
I want this friend.
You were bitten by a radioactive Keanu Reeves.
Yes. I saw John Wick 4 by myself last night. My mother is away on her sort of Valhalla trip to Australia that she's been saving for years and wanted to go on for before I was born.
Oh, wow.
And so I saw it without her, which was not difficult, but John Wick and my mom, we saw them all together. All of them we saw in the theater together. So my mom loves Keanu Reeves and I love action. I mean, I love Keanu Reeves obviously, but we like go to these movies together. And my favorite story is actually for John Wick 2. We went there and the one we wanted to see was sold out, so like an earlier show, and then the next one was late, so and my mom was like, it's a bit too late. So we saw Matt Damon in The Great Wall.
And they're building a great wall. We've heard great things about this wall.
Wonderful wall. We love the wall. But we walk out of the Great Wall, and I remember not hating that movie. I don't think that movie's terrible, but it definitely was one of those forgettable movies, right? And we turned to our left, and it's just like there's that late screening of John Wick 2, and my mom was like, "Do you want to just go in?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think we should just see John Wick 2."
Nice.
And we went in, and we didn't even pay for a ticket. It was awesome. It's a great memory.
Cool. Mom.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it did feel. I feel like I'll love it even more when I see it with my mom when she's back. But that is sort of my origin story. I remember not being too excited to see the first one because I remember I saw 47 Ronin, and speaking of Keanu, and I was like, oh man, where'd Keanu go?
Yeah.
47 Ronin, it's not that great. But maybe if I watched it again now, I would feel differently about it. But I just remember that not being very good.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Maybe. I don't think you should gaslight yourself. I think there was a long stretch of very mid action films, and I do think these movies, and again, even though John Wick 1 isn't necessarily my favorite, I'm very grateful that it reignited this interest into physical stunt coordination, choreography, stuff like that.
There's been talk this week about how all the ways it almost wasn't.
Yes.
So
yes, very interesting actually.
How it was almost a DTV movie before Lionsgate put it theatrically, and that just would have buried it, and we'd be talking about it like we talk about Avengement or Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning.
It would have been a hidden gem that we say, oh no, it's actually really good.
Yeah, and it was almost originally called Scorn.
Yeah,
Speaking of Avengement.
Yeah. That's that, what's
title.
the screenwriter's name again?
Jiminy Cricket.
What's his name again?
Yeah.
Dunstan checks in.
Yeah.
What's his name? Dunstan? No, it's
Dunstan, yeah.
It's Dunstan, right?
No, let me find it.
Yeah.
But he wrote a lot of DTV action movies that I have
It's
seen.
Derek. Derek Kolstad.
Derek Kolstad. Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, Dunstan writes it as Scorn. Not a great idea. Not a good title. Yeah.
And I think it's Chad Stahelski who really sort of was like, okay, this is it's his stamp on it that makes it what
Yes.
it is.
It seems with each movie we can give more and more credit to Mr. Stahelski.
Giga Chad.
I'm looking at
especially the first one. The first one's not like particularly. I don't think you watch it for the script.
The first one.
Yeah.
Well, you watch it for the premise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like what it sets up is like the pitch, the elevator pitch. It's like he's not avenging his wife died, but that's not what he's avenging. He's avenging a dead dog.
Yeah.
And people are like, and Chad talks about that a lot in interviews. How that pitch, like people laughed him out of the room so much.
Yeah. Yeah, because it sounds ridiculous.
Now you
right?
look back and you're like, what an incredible pitch.
Yeah, it's already iconic, right?
Yeah, and it's just like, and they say it in John Wick 3. It's just like, in the past 3 days he's killed hundreds of people, and then Mark Dacascos goes because of a dog in a car.
Yeah.
I've heard about it, and it's just like, yeah, isn't that insane? But and that's what's compelled him and what's made him so likable is because of that fucking dog. I think that's what's pushed audiences because of the way because he avenged the dog.
Yeah. And this movie, like, karma comes back because, he finds his must-love dog soulmate in the nobody hitman tracker.
The tracker / Mr. Nobody.
Yeah.
Who saves him in the end because he saved his dog.
Yeah, I liked that character a lot because I thought, I carry a backpack around pretty much everywhere I go, and I've always wanted to flip it around and make it become a tactical vest. But I like that character because that's who I would be in the assassin world because you got a backpack full of cool gear, you got your little dog friend,
just go groin,
and he's good at it. He's good at the fighting, but he's kind of more like he has more of a tactical mindset about it. He's more of a in the shadows kind of thing, right?
Yeah, he's able to find John Wick wherever he goes, and all he has is like a little like moleskin notebook.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, with drawings of Keanu.
And him, that's really funny.
That was funny. Yeah. It's always funny when someone opens a notebook in a movie and you look at it and it's like it's character names and place names and drawings of things. You're like, oh,
it's pretty clever exposition, I guess.
Yeah.
But him and going back to the pin I put in earlier, Donnie Yen, is just those two characters. I think show the biggest masterstroke in homage. I think in this movie was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think it really elevated this movie, and once I realized that that's what was going on, I was like, "Oh, this is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen."
Yes, I didn't read any reviews, and I tried to limit my Twitter time because I didn't want people, spoiling the movie or whatever. But I did see somebody call it The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly to the first film's whatever, Fistful of Dollars and so on. And I see those comparisons, obviously epic in length and it is 3 hours long, but boy, is that a pretty tasty 3-hour movie.
Yeah, as with all great very long movies, it never really sags or feels boring. This movie not anything like it, but it's the only 3-hour film that comes to mind because I bought it recently. But Inland Empire, when I went to go see that,
no, they're the same thing.
It's
the same thing.
I was not bored once. I was thoroughly engaged the whole time, and I was with this as well.
Great, yeah. You got to go to see Inland Empire whenever it plays at a theater because then you'll be around people who are like, oh my God, I made a huge mistake.
Yeah, we went to go see a screening of We're All Going to the World's Fair after a screening of Inland Empire let out of the theater.
Oh,
and there was a guy who walked out with his girlfriend.
Friend of the pod, Chris.
No, someone else.
Oh, well, he walked out too, didn't he?
Yeah, a friend of
Yeah.
yours walked out, but someone who you didn't know
Oh.
walked past with his girlfriend, and he was like, "Well, there was nothing of merit in that."
I remember he was so serious.
I've never seen Inland Empire, so I can't.
Movie
Well,
night.
it's yeah. Listen, it's not an easy movie. I
No.
would say, like I think it's an easy movie
But it's
because
not
we
boring.
like this stuff. No, it's not
It's
boring. It's very
engaging.
engaging. It's but for somebody who's not used to that or doesn't know what they're getting into with,
I've never
Lynch's
seen
more
Inland Empire. I've
experimental
never
stuff,
seen a
like-
lot of like big
Yeah.
Lynch stuff.
Dude.
I mean, I've seen like Blue Velvet, Eraserhead, Elephant Man, Lost Highway. I've never seen, I've seen the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks, but I've never seen the big ones that people go nuts for: Mulholland Drive, Inland Empire, and
Yeah,
Twin
Peaks
Peaks
Fire
season
Walk
3.
with Me. You seen that one?
No, I haven't seen Fire Walk with Me either. Yeah.
That's good. That's really the John Wick 4 of
Really?
the Twin Peaks verse.
Wow. I mean, I do really love Blue Velvet,
Blue Velvet's
Blue Velvet's
awesome,
great. Yeah. Blue Velvet's great.
and I love Eraserhead too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm a Mulholland Drive boy. I'm very jealous of
I
your
do wanna see
sister, Mulholland Drive. You have the Naomi Watts and the Laura
Herring. Yes,
posters.
I have a set of Mulholland Drive posters.
Like
yeah.
character posters.
No, it's just the regular poster. There's just 2 versions of them with
Oh,
both with
different
Naomi
characters, and they
with-
kind of
yeah.
face each other.
They're
Jealous.
I know
I'm
they're really
jealous of
good.
you.
Yeah. I've seen all of David Lynch's movies. They're all 5-star. I mean, maybe not Dune, but they're all like.
What about The Straight
you know,
Story?
The Straight Story is fantastic.
That's the only one I haven't seen.
That was so. I think that's the case for most people, right? Because it's
a Disney
It's a
movie.
Disney movie.
Is it on Disney Plus?
I don't know if it's on Disney Plus. There's an Australian Blu-ray that came out that if you buy it at a store will be way too expensive. But if you buy it from Australia, along with the shipment of,
Should I text my mom?
yeah, tell her go to the imprint store. It's a you can download it, just like steal it, right? David Lynch is fine. He won't mind.
He's good. He's got that Spielberg money now.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
Fableman's residuals checks coming in.
Yeah, he's in the Fableman's action figure line. There's a John Ford one. Yeah, you can buy.
he's gonna
Get
get a
out of
lot
my
of-
fucking office or whatever he
Yeah,
says.
that's
Yeah.
great.
It's fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, Street Story is very good. I watched it in the pandemic. Everyone should watch it.
okay.
But for me, I don't know. If you had to pick like the best of his career, Twin Peaks as a whole, encompassing the original show, the movie, and the other series. If you can cheat and put that as number one, I would say that's probably the definitive Lynch thing for me.
And if you can,
If I can't do that, then I still might say Firewalk with Me is my favorite of his
okay.
films.
Wow. Okay.
But I love Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet. I'm happy we're talking about David Lynch. We could do it all day, but we've got a 3-hour
I can't
John Wick
can't
movie.
picture. I mean, maybe there are Lynchian homages in John Wick 4. I'm sure. I mean,
I don't think so. They're pretty far. They're kind of on the other end of
No,
the.
yeah.
You know?
possible homage to a long movie. Barry Lyndon, The Duel. It ends in a duel.
Well, yeah, I get. I mean, no, you're right. I was thinking about Barry Lyndon when they had the duel scene,
Yeah.
like when they cut to the wide shot of the duel scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of the first thing that you'd come to your mind.
And he doesn't shoot. Spoilers.
He throws away his shot.
Yeah, just like Barry Lyndon.
Except he doesn't throw it away. He keeps it inside.
oh yes, that's really
and
good.
he shoots Pennywise the clown right in the face.
That got
I
a
know we're
big
get-
round of applause.
we're
out
getting
my
ahead of
theater
ourselves,
last
but-
night.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
Oh, that
satisfying
was-
because I felt like I was the only one reacting viscerally to it. But then when that happened, everybody was like applauding. I was like, yeah, I
pretty
knew
cool.
it.
Yeah, that reminds me of one thing I wanted to mention was now that we, talking about franchises, now that we're at the 4th film, people know what they're getting into with the John Wick movies now. There's expectations you have for certain lines and certain action and this and that. But
For the whole movie, they don't do any like real exposition to bring you up to speed at all,
oh
which
no,
I
you,
really
you
like.
need you can. I mean, you could just go in and watch it, but you wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't think you should. But right at the beginning, John Wick's very first line when Lawrence Fishburne asks him if he's ready, and he says, "Yeah."
Yeah.
people were right away started to laugh. Like, we're here. You know? Yeah.
Well,
It's just great credit to Keanu for turning that just that simple phrase into a John Wick catchphrase.
I was nervous at the beginning because a lot of Keanu's lines at the beginning, like when he does the desert chase, and then there's the things. It's a lot of sort of one-linery stuff. I'm like, I was thinking, oh no, is this going to have the Dark Knight Rises problem?
Right.
It's a bit too clever for its own good.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say an incomprehensible Tom Hardy
yeah,
talking through a grater on his face.
Yeah.
First, I will torture your soul.
We're going to do that a lot when we get to the Dark Knight films.
Can't
Yeah,
fucking
in
wait.
5 years.
But I think it has more nuance to that, especially when he has his first. What is that guy's name? Kitamura or what? Sorry,
The manager in the Osaka?
Hiroyuki. Sorry, Hiroyuki Sanada.
Sonata, yes. Yeah. Who, I should mention we enjoy in Sunshine, but also I think he's in the original Ring. He's like one of the leads of the
Right.
original Japanese The Ring.
We'll get there. Ringu.
We're going to get to Ringu eventually. Ringu is good. Yeah,
Ringu's good.
That's an interesting one, though, where I think
He's also in 47
The Ring
Ronin,
is
I
really
think.
good as well. Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, the Gore Verbinski one?
Yeah, I think it really holds up.
pretty good.
Yeah, that's like really good PG-13 horror.
That movie scared the shit out of me when I was
Oh
a
my
kid.
God.
I had to leave the room to go
The closet?
pee.
Yeah.
I went to go pee it was my parents' place. We were probably watching it together. I went to go pee, but I left the door open because I was too scared to close the door. I was like 13. And I'm not a child,
Hey, here's a good bit.
Yeah.
Ringu Star.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
And
great.
they all have mop tops, but his hair's just wet and in front of his face and dangling on a
I could
snare
see that.
drum.
My cat's
Peace
name
and love.
is Ringo, and I do call him Ringu a lot.
There you go.
Yeah.
Peace and love, 7 days. Peace and love.
7 days.
7 days. Peace and love, everyone.
You're going to die.
Yeah. Poor Ringu.
We all live for 7 days on the Yellow Submarine. Yeah, so once we get to that scene on the rooftop, and they have a pretty neat conversation, and I feel like Keanu's really acting in this one. It's not just all gravitas, so I was like, okay, I'm on board for this. But then we get to the fight scenes, and I was like, okay, this movie is...
Yeah, so Osaka is really the first kind of
Yeah.
the three major set piece or locations, right?
Globetrotting.
And it's not like John Wick 3 where they throw us right into the action. It does take a second to
Definitely.
get to that
Yeah.
opening action scene.
There's reasons why it's a 3-hour long movie.
Yeah, which is why I was a little nervous at the beginning. But once it kind of, I feel like I've said this, it just sets in. Something clicks, and it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, when you know where we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Right. You know exactly what you expect. We've seen all of these fight scenes, and we know we're gonna get a lot of them. And we're curious about how they're going to tweak the formula. And once people start, once they're surrounded by all the archers and everything, and in the lobby of the Osaka Continental, you're like, all right, well, here we go.
When Hiroyuki's like, there's like almost like a warrior's homage, like when the swords come out from behind them.
That was cool.
That was really cool. That was a very video gamey.
Yeah.
That wasn't the only
Very-
Warriors homage. They had the radio person at the end.
yeah.
Yes.
I love that the
and all the guys coming out of the car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they even play Nowhere to Run or whatever that song is called. But I love that the idea that the Paris operator station where all the hitman operators are sending their hits out of is based out of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was really funny. Like, people are like getting engaged out front or like at the top, and then like in the middle somewhere in the Eiffel Tower, there's just people being like, John Wick, $20 million.
I will say, I credit to my girlfriend. That's the tattooed women is her least favorite part of the franchise.
Yeah.
She says it,
Fair enough.
Yeah,
yeah.
sort of like
it's pretty silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did they all go to the same tattoo artist?
Yeah.
Are they all recruited based on like somebody going through Tumblr and looking at all the kind of girls who cosplay like a Rosie the Riveter style, thing, but with lots of tattoos? They all kind of have that look. It's very funny.
it's
I
a
guess
fair
they're all
point.
secretaries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
I
that's
know.
why she's
Yeah.
sort of like, this is a little weird.
Yeah. There's a male secretary in one of them in John Wick 3.
In John Wick 3, the penguin from the Gotham TV show.
Yes, yeah. Very obviously, but queer coded. So it's like it's for gay men and women.
And women, yes.
But sorry, that's the rules in the John Wick universe.
That's interesting.
This movie's canceled, guys. Let's fucking.
That's the one thing. I mean, there are like compelling female characters through the franchise, but it is mostly it's like it's dudes rock.
Yeah. It certainly is. There were some dudes rocking behind us.
Were there?
Well, they no, not in an annoying way.
At 12:30 a.m.
At 12
No,
p.m. We were laughing, having a good time. The guys behind us, though, were very clearly into it. I thought they were reacting and
laughing towards the end, but I was in my own little world anyway. I was
That's good.
Masturbating behind my thing of popcorn. I was like,
I thought maybe you were, yeah.
I'm having so much fun.
I was worried I'd have to pee, and I was like, I could probably pee in this coffee cup.
I did pee during the scene in which, was it like some sort of Tomb of an Unknown Soldier type place? Where Winston and John are having a conversation.
Where he buried Charon.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that where? Okay, maybe I missed
they
that
actually say his name in this, and he says
Sharon.
Yeah, Sharon. Yeah.
Something like that.
Anyway, whatever. What do you
Lance,
do?
Lance
I know.
Reddick dies in the movie and died in real life.
So
that's
I
what happened.
bet that was probably
that's
another.
why he passed away.
Yeah, that's how he died in real life. Yeah.
Bill Skarsgård shot.
Yeah. No, we're not joking about that. We love Lance.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace. Sorry.
No,
and I guess we shouldn't. That's probably why Keanu went to visit the set on Lance's first day, which we talked about last episode, because they weren't going to shoot together.
Yeah, that's it. He's only has that one
Couple
scene.
scenes,
yeah. And I can imagine. Well, obviously they were all devastated when he died, but then there's also that kind of. It's just kind of eerie, sort of weird coincidence that his character is killed.
Kind of like in Last Jedi, everybody. I remember when I saw that when Carrie Fisher flies out of the windshield of the spaceship, which is a good scene, in my opinion.
And she flies right back.
Yeah,
I
people
don't
held their breath. I remember people going,
"Yeah,
they're just gonna. This is it.
This is it."
Yeah, I was grateful she survived, but I feel like they do her dirty in the third one.
Oh yeah. Well, they were handed a rough deal, I guess.
Yeah, and
also J.J. Abrams sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that on Lance Reddick's last day on Earth, the night before, he was playing Destiny 2? And the people, it's an online game where you go on, space raids. And the people who were in his, raiding party, the next day, they, went to his last spawn location in the game and paid tribute to him.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
Do we know how he died?
I think it was natural causes.
Yeah, maybe
so he
a
was
heart
sick
attack or
and
something. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know if I don't know if we know yet. Yeah.
Wow.
But it sucks. I mean, I was happy he was in this movie. Mm-hmm. It's too bad he's not in a lot of it.
It almost made me choke up when they were talking about what it said on his gravestone.
I know it. Yeah, that he was a good friend. I know. I also was like, oh, but he was Lance was a good friend.
Yeah.
Lance was a good friend. Lance was all of our friends. I mean, not really, but I'm sure he would have been if we ever got to meet.
100%, no doubts in my mind.
So
Lance
we would have played Destiny 2 together.
Similar to how Justin Bieber once said that Anne Frank would have been a believer. Mm-hmm. I think we can comfortably say Lance Reddick would have been a franchisee.
A franchisee. When we talked about John Wick 3, a movie I've lived with for 4 years and watched many times, I was able to articulate so much better than I am going to be able to today on why I liked it. Today I'm just like, it's so fucking good.
Well, yeah.
Oh my God, I'm coming.
This is what I mean. This is the nature of these episodes of the franchisees. Where, when we go see Magic Mike's Last Dance or whatever, something in the theater, it's a hot and fresh take. It's not going to be. We haven't, as they say, marinated.
Yeah,
we haven't let
percolated.
it percolate. Yeah,
and
that's okay.
I don't know how I feel about my take on Magic Mike's Last Dance.
Didn't you like it?
I said it was my favorite.
Oh yeah,
but I'm starting to I think they all work really well as one cohesive piece.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So,
those movies are great.
I didn't see that third one.
It's worth seeing. Yeah. It's good.
I don't know why I skipped it. It's a Soderbergh movie. Maybe I was mad that fucking Joe Manganiello wasn't back.
Yeah. the boys are not in town.
No Bomer.
Yeah, no Bomer.
No Fluffy.
No Fluffy. The other one's like a tiny, teeny.
There's a little
bit.
a Zoom cameo
By who?
of the boys.
But no Fluffy.
No Fluffy. No.
That
No.
I'm never going to see that movie.
Joel,
I wanna
as
see
a
Fluffy's
stand-up
last dance.
comedian,
Yeah.
Fluffy's probably one of your key influences.
Oh.
You'd say, right?
I like
Yeah.
to think in the canon.
Joe Rogan, Fluffy.
Yeah.
Carrot Top.
Yep. Louis C.K.
Louis C.K.
Chris
Delia.
Delia, right?
Yeah. Bill Cosby.
Chris Delia.
Justin Roiland, Innocent.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Justice.
I'm not going to jail, Morty. I'm a martyr, Morty. I'm a cancel culture martyr.
Maybe when he made that tweet with the note app thing,
Oh,
saying
man.
that he got acquitted or whatever, and then it said
They
justice.
dropped the charges.
They dropped the charges, and then the tweet under the notes app thing said justice. Maybe he was referencing that the John Wick franchise finally used Genesis by Justice.
Finally.
In a special John Wick edit, as it says in the credits. Yeah.
When in France.
Exactly.
Literally, when I felt it like that beat starting, I was like, oh my fucking God.
It's a great song.
This is what I thought. I thought, because there was talk of there being a John Wick 5, and I was like, oh my God, this is the last John Wick movie.
Do you think it's the last John Wick movie?
Yes.
There's a John Wick 5
it's
on Wikipedia.
There is, but do you think it's actually...
I think he died.
No,
Do you
I
think-
I think John Wick the persona died, and he's like living
Okay, what
as a
happened
fisherman.
after the credits?
It had nothing to do with John Wick.
We follow
Donnie Yen.
we follow Donnie
Caine.
Yen. No, we follow
Does Akira come back?
We follow
You called it.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was trying to make a
Okay.
joke here. Okay, let's pretend nobody said it. We follow Ian McShane to John Wick's grave as he's replacing some fresh flowers, and then the theme from Carrie comes on, and his hand shoots out of the grave, and it's like dun 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 dun, and he's like ah. It's like that. That's
I
what
thought
happens.
that maybe Winston was going to go to Florence to have a Fernet Branca at his favorite patio and look across, see the back of Anne Hathaway's head. She moves.
They nod.
They nod and sees John Wick, and they nod.
I hate that fucking movie, except for the Bane stuff, which is flawless.
Which we will get to.
I don't know. I haven't seen. Actually, I watched the Dark Knight Rises last year. Did I? I think I thought it was fine.
I mean, maybe it is fine. Yeah. I didn't like it at the time. I never saw it again. I'm sure it's actually not as
It's
bad.
messy, and then it has a fun climax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, so what in the credits basically? Akira comes back.
Yeah. So Donnie Yen is walking with a bouquet of flowers. Actually, this time to his daughter, who's busking, playing the violin.
Yeah.
And before he can get to her, we see that Akira is walking towards him, and she has a knife out, the switchblade.
Yeah.
And then it cuts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would love to see that movie.
Who knows?
She's so good.
Do you think this is really the last John Wick?
Okay. I do.
It might.
I do.
be.
Chad Stahelski, for the first time in interviews, has been talking about wanting to do other stuff other than John Wick.
He's doing the video game Ghosts of Tsushima or whatever.
I didn't know that.
Isn't he?
I didn't know that.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he has been I remember when John Wick 3 came out, he couldn't wait to keep doing John Wick movies. Basically, he in his head, he's like, I have more to do. I have more stuff to do, and I can't the reason I keep doing it is because they let me do it, and I can do whatever I want. I can do everything in these movies.
Yeah.
And he literally does in John Wick 4. So, okay. Maybe we should start at the beginning, or maybe we can start with Donnie Yen. I don't know,
Yeah, where to even go? Well, yeah. Let's start with Akira. Yeah, because we're at the. We established he goes to Osaka. He is given some refuge from the manager there. Koji is the character, I guess, and his daughter, who's his concierge. I think, right? Kind of a risky relationship, seeing as how
father-daughter,
Ian McShane's concierge, our favorite, gets killed. But so she's a famous
she's
pop
a singer.
star.
I didn't know she acted.
did a song for this movie.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it was the credit song. But I wasn't familiar with her. You were?
Neither was I.
Yeah, I
Rina
Sawayama. Yeah, I saw her name in the credits, and I was like, oh, that's who that was?
Yeah.
Her only other filmography credits on Letterboxd is like a Coachella live performance.
Yeah, I only knew her as a
neat.
singer, and I thought she did great.
She was great.
I actually
my
thought
God, yeah.
I thought the movie was going to be like her and John Wick teaming up because she
It did
kind
seem
of like
that way, yeah.
she's forced into it, but she harbors like resentment because he's the one who brought all this like bad business to Osaka and stuff.
That's what he does. He will probably get your dad killed if you befriend him.
When so her fight scene, where she follows a crawling man up the stairs, stabbing him a bunch of times, and everyone has these sort of Kevlar suit jackets.
Yeah.
I love when they're like getting shot at and they just kind of like lift their like
hide
suit up.
under the
Yeah.
lapel.
It's just it's so seamless how they work all these things in. Like we remember when those were introduced in the second one.
Yeah.
And then by the fourth one, everybody has one.
It's commonplace.
It's commonplace as it would be. And it's just it's such a perfect, like goofy but totally plausible within the world of the film kind of thing to get away with certain things.
And
like,
it's not like a catch-all. It's not. Yeah, it's like a very subtle sort of thing. Like in the Marvel movies, like when they introduced like the micro sort of thing that were like,
right.
Fucking Tony Stark can just press a button and he's immediately Iron Man. He doesn't need to get into a suit anymore. That's kind of ruined a lot of cool stuff,
Or the Black Panther suit that can absorb everything and then shoot it out.
Oh right.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like technology that just almost overpowering.
Yeah,
you can still kill a guy if he's wearing a Kevlar suit.
You know what else is nice about the difference between these two types of suits? The ones in John Wick are real.
Yeah.
They don't. Bulletproof suits might not exist, but they're not CGI floating suits detached from someone's head.
I got a lot more to say about CGI after seeing fucking Shazam 2 today.
Oh, good Lord,
right
yeah.
After John Wick 4.
I will say there is some CGI in John Wick 4 that I didn't like quite as much.
What part?
Just, I think it was mostly for me just some of the car hits in the Champs-Élysées, which is fine. Like it didn't take me away from it, but there's a couple, just because there's so much stuff going on.
Yeah,
there are a
you
couple
might
shots
be also
there
surprised how much of that was real. Apparently.
Oh no, I'm sure, but there's definitely a little bit of digital fudging here and there. Yeah,
just 'cause
I guess I didn't notice it too much.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just a little kind of.
There's obviously CGI with the exploding bullets scene too, but that scene was just blowing me away.
Oh God,
so
yeah. We're okay. We'll get to that because that's we did lots to talk about there.
The Arc de Triomphe roundabout.
Yeah,
I love that because here in Canada we don't have too many roundabouts, and then when you do encounter one, like there's one kind of on the way to Blue Mountain in Collingwood.
There's several up there. Yeah,
you're kind of like, oh shit, one of these. What do I do again? And this but these Parisians, they were like driving like they couldn't care less that there was like all this like vehicular manslaughter going on, vehicles as weapons. Also, movie made playing cards as weapons too, which is pretty badass.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So maybe. Should we talk about the Germany part or?
Oh well, let's get to that scene at Osaka.
Okay.
When we see a bunch of action happening, and then we cut to Donnie Yen, Caine, eating ramen in a janitor closet, and it's just like, oh shit, he's sitting it out because he knows. Like it's just like it's just like this because we see his motivation that like he's doing it for his daughter. This scene, he doesn't want to kill John Wick, but he has to. Okay, we get that. Mm-hmm. But then, and I thought maybe, he's going to be kind of like an emotional guy. But then once he's like on the job, it's like
stunning,
totally dialed in and all this stuff. And when you first see him like do his first blow, it's just like, holy shit, Donnie Yen is even looking at where he's hitting because he's blind.
Yeah,
and he's like, it's the physical performance. I honestly think he should get an award for this. I don't give a shit about Oscars, but
I completely agree.
Start it right now. Donnie Yen, Best Supporting Actor.
I agree. I wasn't skeptical about Donnie Yen being in these movies. I thought, he's kind of a perfect fit, and
but also seemed like an obvious fit too.
It was an obvious fit, and what I was worried about is that. I don't know. I was worried not that he was in it, but how they were going to use him, and is it going to. is he going to stand out and be unique in his fighting style in these movies? Because I think a lot of the, lower tier bad guys, or even down to just regular henchmen, there's a lot of very unique ways people get dispatched in these movies, but a lot of it is kind of samey, right? Mm-hmm. And when you have your Mark Dacascos or your Commons or whatever, the kind of secondary or main villains or whatever, you really want them to stand out. And it was just perfect. Like to have this kind of, I guess, sort of a riff on Zatoichi, Blind Swordsman, but also like its own separate thing, with all the doorbells.
Yeah, well,
my God,
I love that sequence because he starts fighting and you can see like he's not Daredevil, like he could just basically see with echolocation.
No,
he's kind of feeling his way
around.
Superhero. Yeah,
yeah.
And then he throws out these devices, and you're like, oh, what are these proximity mines? And it turns out they're just like electronic doorbell motion sensors. And when someone goes by, he's like, oh, there they are.
Even when we're first introduced to him, when he's talking to Pennywise the Clown, and this servant comes over with a tray with a John Wick Braille card on it, right? When he reaches for it, he doesn't just snatch it perfectly. He kind of hits the tray, and they establish he's not Daredevil. He's not a superhero. He's an actual blind man who is also like a world-class assassin who, yes, falls into some of these sorts of tropes of whatever, like a blind action hero whose other senses are heightened and so on.
But it is a trope, but it's also like an archetype. And
it's very well done
they
in this movie.
Well.
When after his first fight scene where he finished the guy off with like several punches in a row, like
that was so good.
Like Mortal Kombat.
I put my head in my hands. I was like, oh my God. Like it was just like,
yeah.
Like similar to when I saw Payakan the Whale for the first time in Avatar 2. My mouth was agape.
It is too painful.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't sound like that, but that's probably what he would sound like. Yeah.
Oh God, this fucking movie is so good.
We love movies here.
I love movies.
Yeah.
I want to say shout outs to Bill Skarsgård.
Yes,
I know we've been throwing shade on his name by calling him Pennywise.
I don't mean to throw shade.
No, I understand. Those movies do suck. Like I hate those movies.
The first one's okay.
The first one's okay.
I hate both of them. And
Okay. Well, I mean, you're allowed.
Yeah.
You're allowed, and I also sort of agree with you. They're not great, but he's really good at them.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good. And we were saying, like, yes, he does do a bit of a shit-eating French accent, but it's not like super obnoxious. Or
not Matrix 2.
It's right. He's no Merovingian, a man who is actually French, right? I guess. Like he's really walking the line because every now there's a couple of words here and there where he's like, but
I didn't know.
For the most part, it's okay. It really works for that character.
I kind of clenched up when I first saw him. I did not know he was going to be in the movie.
And, no trailers.
And I just watched Barbarian the other day, and I was like,
he's a friendly guy. Yeah.
Well, I think the casting of him in that movie is really clever.
Yeah, because you're like, it's Pennywise.
Did you like Barbarian?
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
It didn't like blow my mind, and there were like some really effective moments. Like I think descending into a dark staircase is just kind of spooky.
It's when it wants to be scary. It's scary.
Yeah.
Not for me though. I'm not scared of anything.
No, yeah. I think the payoff of the monstrous mama. At the end, like
Castle Freak.
Yeah, Castle Freak. I love Castle Freaks.
I know. Well, me too. Yeah.
Or Cellar Dwellers, also good.
Cellar Dweller.
Castle Freak, Cellar Dweller. It's all the same
Jeffrey
thing.
Combs movies.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was that
Lovecraft.
scary, but the ambiance of being in this house and then the secret passageways, stuff I found pretty effective.
Flashback scene too, I thought was really well filmed.
Yeah, with like a wider.
Richard Brake. Yeah, it's very creepy, inherently creepy looking guy.
And Kurt Braunohler's in that scene.
Yeah, which is funny.
And it was so funny. The day after my friends and I saw it, we go to Comedy Bar for a show, and we're doing the late show, and Kurt Braunohler is headlining the show before us, and we're like,
what?
Holy!
Did you not know he was there? Or?
No, it was like kind of a surprise drop in for JFL 42.
Damn.
And it was like...
I like Kurt Braunohler. He's funny.
Yeah, I wish I saw his set that night, but we so wanted to like imitate the fucking mother from Barbarian and go up to my...
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought... as is the case with movies like that, it kind of gets overrated or whatever, but I thought it was well done.
It got very overrated.
It did.
But at the same time, I'm like glad people like a horror movie.
I also think it's funny people sharing the various Barbarian memes in relation to Justin Roiland's Twitter thing because of the Justin Long character.
Right.
Yeah, who's just completely oblivious to like what an awful person he is, and just and I love that they give you that moment where he's like, maybe he's gonna really turn it around and save the day, and then he was
like, no, you were slipping.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Such a jerk. Yeah. Justin Roiland.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Bill Skarsgård. He like the Marquis. Is that his name?
He's playing the Marquis de Sade.
Marquis de Sade. Okay. Is that?
No, he's playing the Marquis of.
He's playing the Marquis of whatever.
Yeah, the Marquis and
the Marquis de Merde.
There was mention of like he inherited the throne, and I was thinking, oh, Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
The whole Skarsgård clan has at one point been the Marquis de shit of something or other.
I feel like I was thinking, why didn't Alexander Skarsgård come in for this? And but then
he's busy.
He's too handsome.
He's the busiest man right now.
And if you're going to, I mean, after seeing the Northman, but I don't know about you guys, which I loved, and I thought he was great in.
I liked it too. I think I liked it a bit more than you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it overall, but I think I was just expecting something else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But having seen that movie,
he's
it's
good.
Like if you're gonna put Alexander Skarsgård in the John Wick movie, it's kind of like the Jean-Claude Van Damme and Expendables 2 thing. You gotta make a fight.
They gotta fight.
It can't be like Bill Skarsgård is kind of perfect for this role. It's just like because he's this shit-eating guy that you want to see die, and then you just see him die.
Yeah, he's a little Lord Fauntleroy type that you would love to see get shot in the face. And spoilers, well, he does.
Yeah, because Alexander is a bit too imposing now.
I don't think he would have fit
in that character. The function of what becomes the function of that character.
He's more Alfie Allen-esque, where he's not really the big bad, but he's kind of a wimp.
I think
he's French.
He ends up being a better character than Alfie Allen.
Way better. Definitely.
I mean, Alfie Allen. It's always satisfying when he dies, but you never think in that original John Wick that he's going to put up any fight for John Wick. It's his dad that ultimately becomes like the main villain in that movie.
Totally.
So like Alfie Allen, you're just kind of waiting for him to die, and then he dies almost unceremoniously in that first one, and then it becomes him versus that Russian actor who is late.
Michael Nyqvist.
Yes.
I think he's Swedish.
Swedish.
Playing Russian.
Swedish.
And
Russian.
He's the original detective in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Fucking Bill Skarsgård.
Here's a crazy connection. Alexander Skarsgård in The Northman fighting that guy Klaus Bang, who is in The Square,
which has Genesis in it,
where he rocks out to Genesis.
I know. I thought about that. I was like, oh, The Square, another masterpiece, just like this one.
Yeah,
it just makes me want to listen to
I
Justice
don't like
again.
that one, yeah.
You don't like The Square?
No, not really.
I'm a big The Square guy, but I wasn't a Triangle of Sadness guy.
I'm a big Force Majeure guy.
Force Majeure I really liked.
Me too.
Yeah, the other two, and I think it's also just like when you see it, it's already won the Palme d'Or, so you're like, all right, like what do you got?
Right.
It does a disservice to films like that, I think, that aren't actually good, in my opinion.
I think The Square is up my alley.
The Square is much better. The Square makes the Triangle of Sadness look like dog shit.
The Square is up my ass.
Yeah,
it's up its own ass.
I very far.
I fully agree with that, but I also kind of like that kind of thing sometimes. If it's so audacious.
Yeah, like I actually. So I didn't like Triangle of Sadness, but hearing Ruben Östlund in interviews and how he's like, he has another, as they say, blank check after winning his second Palme d'Or, which is disgusting and wrong. And the French can't be trusted. I know French, not really French people who decide, but whoever was in the jury that year, tisk. Yeah.
And
I can see why it kind of blinded.
I get it. Yeah. But
first, like The Square, then Triangle of Sadness. What's next? Parallelogram of penis?
Yeah,
Circle.
good. Yeah.
The Circle. He remakes The Circle with Tom
remakes
Hanks and Emma Watson.
Yeah, but him talking about his next movie being like, we'll have like a 15-minute scene of a child and he's playing on the iPad and his parents won't take it away from him, and it's like like I have invented slow cinema. He's like, he's so up his own ass, man. I love it. Yeah. Anyway, good for him.
I don't disagree that. Similarly, John Wick 4 is quite indulgent, but I think it's indulgent in the right directions.
Yes, it is. It is indulgent. I do think it is a little long. However, I was impressed with the pacing of this film because, like breaking it up into those three different city sections, and just knowing that when you get to the end and all the action in Paris starts, you're like, well, there's got to be like a solid 50 minutes left. So, or is it just going to be rising action all the way to home run? And it was
pretty much is. Yeah.
The one thing I did have spoiled for me. It wasn't a spoiler at all, but Matt Singer tweeted.
Matt.
Yeah, he said my favorite scene in the movie was the stairwell scene. And so I interviewed Chad Stahelski about the stairwell scene. I'm like, okay, stairwell scene. And then we get to this part in Osaka where Akira kills this man in the Kevlar suit.
Goes right down the stairs.
Yeah, with the knife, stabs him a bunch of times. I was like, that's pretty cool. I can't wait till we read that article because I don't know how they...
Yeah, are they going to get
a full kind of
1,000 words out of this?
Yeah. And then at the end, I was like, we see this large staircase. I was like, holy shit. Oh, this is it.
This makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll get to that.
Well, yeah, so before we get to that, where else does he go after Osaka?
Berlin,
baby.
Before we skip Osaka, credit where credit due is to the set design of the art room in Osaka.
Yes.
Like, because we talked about the mirrors and the art galleries.
I'm glad they had a scene
in John Wick 2, and then then all the Crystal Skull room in John Wick 3, and in John Wick 4 is just like they just one up themselves. Like the art direction in this movie is insane. Give them fucking Oscar. Not that I give a shit. But
no, they should get Oscars. They should get Oscars.
Art direction, especially, and supporting acting.
Yeah, and also it's like we were talking about in 3, where it's like, okay, well, I can understand why you'd have maybe one room of Crystal Skull cases, but why is there a second layer of them underneath that? In this one, that whole room is like ostensibly a training like grounds, but it's a very arty, like not really a practical gym.
They're practicing archery in this like super modern high tech room with like strobe lights and glass. It's like that's where you practice archery. There's no backyard.
When he passes in front of the archers, I was like, just go behind them.
It's like archery 101 that you're not supposed to do that. Okay.
Yeah. And then I also before we move on to Berlin, the nunchuck scene is so good.
Yeah, it is really good.
Oh God, I forgot. See, there's just so much movie that it's like I forgot. Of course, he fights someone with nunchucks.
And Keanu said that was the most challenging part of the movie.
Oh, like learning, how to do them without hitting yourself in the shin.
Because he's not only hitting them so hard and like doing cool moves and stuff, but he's also like stepping away and spinning it around behind him and doing all the cool sort of...
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I found a training pair of nunchucks in just like a filing cabinet in my at the office at my agency. It might be somewhere in here. But yeah, I just found they're nunchucks, but they were like foam padded.
Grip? Oh, wow.
Cool. And I brought them home because I was like, well, I'm taking these. It was just like abandoned in a filing cabinet. Now I have nunchaku.
Well, if you start now, start putting in your 10,000 hours, right? Because by the end of the...
Keanu says it's the hardest thing he's ever done. I'm like, dude, you got to fucking... a lot of stairs to climb there.
Well, in the interest of time, we should move on to Germany. So he's in Germany. And yada yada yada. He has to kill Scott Adkins.
He has to kill Scott Adkins so that Nymphadora Tonks from the Harry Potter universe, Natalie Tena, will allow him back into the Belarusian clan family.
Yes, so she'll give him the brand.
I used to think she was so hot.
What about now?
Because in Harry Potter, she could change her hair. She was still very hot.
Exactly.
And I think the only image I had spoiled for me is him...
sitting,
having the noose on him there.
Oh, okay, right. Right.
And the Killa.
And Killa, of
Killa
course, yeah.
also had spoiled.
Killa
for me his
lunch
look.
boxes, Killa pencil toppers.
I love that scene when
Killer
they're playing
trapper
poker
keepers.
and then
Yeah.
he's kind of like cheating.
He's
I
doing the
love
Ricky
a
Jay
good
thing.
I love a
Yes,
good
yeah.
tense poker match, like
Mhm.
Casino Royale. That was probably my favorite part of Casino
Yeah.
Royale, and this one was good too.
I have gotten into poker in the last year, and
It's fun.
Ben and I also used to play poker when we
Yeah.
lived together.
I've
Yep.
hosted poker nights here at this table.
Oh,
We
small
should do it.
shit.
We'll do it.
Baby
Yeah.
table.
I got a
Oh,
poker set right there.
Nice.
So
And Magic the Gathering, if you guys ever wanted to crush that.
No. Moving on.
once I saw the cards coming up, and it was all just these impossible hands, I was like, oh, Killa is Ricky Jay.
Yeah.
Killa is
The late great Ricky Jay
Yeah.
is that's why he's so big.
Yeah.
Ricky Jay is residing inside of him.
And
Yeah.
then John Wick tries to slit his throat with a card.
That was
Very
sick.
cool.
Cards
Yeah.
as weapons.
And,
Anything's a weapon.
And that scene, I'm sorry to bring up Good, the Bad, and the Ugly again, but it had those vibes of just like High Noon, like
Totally,
like really
totally.
good West, like Sergio Leone Western, where all these guys that want to kill
Yeah.
each other need to sit down and look at each other, which obviously is a big John Wick thing at like the Continental and stuff.
Yes, and I think actually the final duel, right, like is in that wide shot. I think reminiscent of Barry Lyndon, just because it's one of the key sort of dealing movies, but the rest of it is shot very much like the Western Showdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the famous cowboy angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Killa was great. I did a bit of research and I finally watched Scott Adkins' movie Avengement, which I remember you liking a lot when it came
I
out.
love that movie.
And I had a good time. And it's funny, Killa has the gold teeth in this one, just like Scott Adkins has his silver kind of grill in Avengement. And something I forgot about him is that he's British. So in Avengement, he's during he'll fight, and then there'll be a pause, and he'll be like, "Come on, then, all right, come on, you cunt, I'll run away." And
he'll have a sip of a pint. Yeah.
So good, yeah. Where he's just, he may not be the greatest fighter in the world. He might not be like Donnie Yen or whatever.
Yeah.
But he makes up for it by being like, "Oh, you what? Come on then, come on then."
That is his great strength, is how
Blew out your ears on that.
angry he is as a fighter.
Yeah.
And it comes across in Killer.
It does.
Killer, it is. I will say, I've watched a lot of Scott Adkins movies. I haven't seen all of them, but I've watched a lot of them. He's bad at accents. Every time he's doing an accent that's not his own.
He's pretty goofy.
And him doing, was he doing a Belarusian?
German, I guess.
It was bad. It was a bad accent, but I was like, this is Scott.
It sounds
This is part of the-
it sounds British a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. He
Yeah.
goes into this like this John Wick. I want to
Exactly.
kill you. And it's just fucking rules. And when he's in a fat suit, obviously.
Yes.
But
Yes, he is.
I think the idea was Chad was like, I want to see someone who fights as good as Scott Adkins in a fat suit. So when he does a spin kick, it just looks insane.
It's actually fat positive. It's body positive.
Yep.
That like a Sammo Hung style.
Yeah.
The big lad can still kick
Mhm.
with the best of them.
When he does the spin kick and
It's
knocks
fast, yeah.
John Wick, there's a lot of big falls in this movie, and when Killa dies, falls down those stairs.
Yes.
And
Lands right on his head.
cracks his head right
Yeah.
open. It's awesome. But when he spin kicks and John Wick falls into a waterfall.
Oh yeah, it's quite beautiful when they're fighting in the waterfall.
Berghain.
It's just we were joking. So people in New York, they're too busy to care about assassins shooting each other in the street, and in Berlin, doubly so, right?
Yeah.
People were like in the club dancing, high as all hell, right? And they're like, "Listen, I've been rejected from Berghain thousands of times. This is the one time I've got in. I don't care if bullets are flying.
Yeah.
We're dancing,
He tries to like suck John Wick's dick while he's like passed out. He's like, "Come here, I'm going to suck you off."
What I was thinking in Airplane, where she's dancing with the sailor and he gets stabbed, and then he starts pointing to his wound, and she thinks it's a dance move.
Yeah.
But just the lighting in that scene is insane. Like there are points where like one half of John's face is blue and the other half is pink, and it's just, I don't know, it's just fucking insane. And I heard Chad in an interview say that he's influenced by Wong Kar-wai and like Bertolucci for that kind of shit, and I was like, you're insane. You're
I love
so fucked.
That's the great thing about director interviews. It's like, you know, you can just say it. You can just say anything.
Yeah.
You're just like it, and it's not that I'm sure he is influenced by them, right? As many people are, but whether or not those influences actually show up in your own work, that's one of the greatest things. Is any director, you talk to, I don't know, Dennis Duggan, a former actor who directs a lot of Adam Sandler movies, and he's
Big Daddy.
Big
one of my
Daddy,
favorites.
yeah, and you're like, Big Daddy really, it was for me a Maurice Pialat film. I don't know how to fucking say his last name. Why did they pick that director? Anyway,
I was thinking a lot about Althazar Balthazar.
yeah, Althazar Balthazar.
I went with something I knew I couldn't pronounce.
That's how we should. That's how it should be said, AKA EO. Yeah,
There was
new franchise.
actually
Donkey movies.
If we have a quick second, after we watched John Wick last time, Ben and I were hanging out a bit. Joel, you had to go. We don't, have anything to do really, so we decided, hey, let's watch another movie. We like movies.
Yeah.
And on Ben's recommendation, we watched this really cool British movie from 1970, directed by the EO guy.
Yes.
Called Deep End.
Deep End. One of my new favorite movies.
I loved it, and I just wanted to say thank you for recommending it. And you were like, I think you'll like this movie, and you're right, I did.
I was pretty sure.
What's that about?
Deep End is. Oh God, it's a coming of age story, I guess.
Yeah,
first
like
and
the
foremost.
Fablemans.
Yeah,
Just like the Fablemans.
Just like the Fablemans. This kid.
Kind of like I like movies.
Yeah, it is a lot like I like movies.
Okay.
It's I would say the darker side of I like movies.
So my favorite parts of I like movie then.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Shout out to friend of the pod, Chandler.
Very well could be on.
Very
someday.
well could be on the show. Anyway, Deep End, yeah, really brief Deep End corner for you. Jerzy Skolimowski, it's 1970, I think. Polish director making a film in England. I think it was. I don't actually think any of it was. I think there are exterior shots in England, but I think it was filmed.
The pool was in Poland or something?
Maybe, or
yeah,
other
probably.
countries. But anyway, it's about a young British kid. I think he's like 16. He drops out of high school to get his first job, and he starts working at this like bathhouse aquatic center, basically. So there's a big pool, and there are all these different private bathrooms, and he's the male bathroom attendant, along with Jane Asher, who
Paul McCartney's ex.
Yeah, Paul McCartney's girlfriend at the time in the 60s, and was a big model and kind of swinging 60s icon, London icon. And
he just kind of becomes obsessed with her.
He becomes obsessed with her. She's 25, he's 16, she's beautiful, and he's obsessed
That's
with her.
a Ringo
He's in love
Starr
with her.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And your mind.
Yeah, I heard that song for the
That's
first
funny.
time not too long
I
ago.
didn't mean to do that.
And I was like, is he singing about his daughter? And it was like, nope.
Yeah.
Becomes really apparent he is
She
not.
was just 17. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
She was underage. Yeah. Daniel Johnson's version of that song, that's the real meal ticket. Anyway, Deep End, I think actually even saying much more about what the movie is about kind of does a disservice to it.
Yeah.
You should just go in knowing that it is takes this very common sort of coming of age horny guy getting his life ruined by his own obsessions.
It's like
so
a swinging 60s Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, and I think that's a good example.
Is it
because
in
Fast Times,
English?
It
It's
is
in
in English.
English,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's on the Criterion Channel now, along with two of his other
I
films.
was gonna ask if it was on Tubi.
Yeah, I don't think it's on Tubi, but similar to Fast Times, it may present itself initially as primarily a comedy, but it goes to dark places, and I think in a way that a lot of coming of age stories would shy away from.
It's got a great extended sequence set to a song called Mother Sky by Caine,
Yeah.
credited as The Caine.
One of the great opening credit. The opening credits are amazing, set to a Cat Stevens song, and then there's a
What
credit
song?
that's I Might Die Tonight, and it's it says songs by Cat Stevens and The Can, and when you see that, you're like, hell yeah,
Oh,
this is
man.
amazing. Yeah,
Would recommend. Thank you, Ben.
Cool. I will watch it soon.
it's very good.
But I do have a lot on my watch list, having heard some interviews with Chad Stahelski this week.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and a lot of these things I just want to rewatch. I really, really want to rewatch Good, the Bad, and the Ugly after this.
Well, maybe that's something we might be doing on the podcast coming up sooner than later.
Who knows?
We don't know.
Wow.
I don't know
But
anything.
maybe pretty soon.
Wink, wink. I'll come back
You
and
could
give
come
my
back.
John Wick
Yeah.
4 thing.
Every time John Wick's shooting out of his car while he's driving, I'm reminded of Nick Frost in Hot Fuzz when he does that, and he just goes bang, bang, bang while he's shooting.
Have you seen that video of that fucking idiot? Like, it's somewhere in the States. It's in Florida, probably. No offense, but offense, please.
Florida Projectly.
Yeah, he's driving. It's like his dash cam, like facing him, right? And he's driving, and somebody is littering, I think, and they throw a water bottle out, and it hits his car. But I think he thinks it's like a bullet. So he's like, and this is some shrimpy little piece of shit, like who's has just been waiting
Bill Skarsgård
for a
type.
chance, to shoot a gun. He pulls out his pistol from his car thing, and starts shooting as the car goes by, but he shoots he's shooting through his window and his windshield. And as soon, he's got this look in his face like, I'm a fucking badass. And as soon as he pulls a trigger and realizes what he's like, how loud it's actually, and he's like, ah! And he goes, he's like, oh no, right? That guy he's fucked. Like his life is ruined now. It's a really funny video. Check it out. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Nobody got hurt. Also, by the way, nobody got hurt.
I do love in that car driving scene that John Wick's windshield is fully like just broken out and he's shooting like right out the front window.
Yeah, it's cool.
It
And you
great
don't need
scene.
a side door. Like that's why the UPS trucks don't have a side door, just in case they have to get in a shootout.
It almost felt like when there's like it felt like there was respect being paid to the front door being taken off as if it was like an homage to the first scene in John Wick 2.
Yeah,
Did that seem
No,
like,
it is. Yeah.
And much like in that like overhead oneer shot with the exploding bullets when
Let's talk about that.
the songs from John Wick, like the Lake Castlevania songs,
Yes.
they come back. That first he does fucking LED spirals from the first one, and then does John Wick mode from the second one.
Have you ever played the video game Hotline Miami?
I'm not a video game guy at all.
It is reminiscent. It's a top-down shooter.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's same with the original GTA. Is that?
Yeah, it's more like of a
similar.
puzzle game though, because
Yeah.
you can only get like shot once, so you kind of have to plan your like route, and it's like top down, and it's like hyper violent. They just
It's
play
difficult.
like pummeling techno over it.
Yeah.
There was like a Pitchfork article written about it recently, like hyper violent games like Hotline Miami and techno and whatnot.
Yeah.
When did Hotline Miami come out?
Like 2010 maybe,
A
like
while back.
ago,
They
but
made
it was like a big
sequel
indie
and-
hit. Yeah.
But,
Miami in Florida,
really-
much like that man in his car.
There you go.
It was very much. Yeah, I thought that scene was really
so
well done.
good.
Yeah,
And
like
I like it, and I was
the
thinking
incendiary bullets, right?
Yeah, they almost look like fireballs. Like when he's shooting them, it almost looks like he's casting like fire, like he's a wizard.
and it's like in that scene you like just because he has these exploding bullets, it's just like, oh well, John Wick's gonna make it out of this, you know?
Yeah.
But you think but I just want to see him do this though. Yeah, sure, give me that angle. Like I just want to see it in full.
Yeah.
You know?
It's cool. It's done really well.
Yeah.
It is done really well. Yeah, it's a great set that they built for that, and I'm sure
Art direction, man.
Art direction, absolutely. I'm sure there's all sorts of little bits and pieces of computer generated assistance here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't actually think that was all one camera maneuver, and who knows exactly how the set was designed or whatever. But what's important more than that is that it works. It looks really good, and it's a refreshing angle, and it's fun, right? Especially for that, like that mixed with the incendiary bullets. Like it's I don't know. You get to see so much more of the chaotic destruction than you would had it been shot the way the rest of the other ones are, right? It's
And
it's cheeky.
I was like, because they do it once and then they bring it back down to regular shots, and I was like, kind of want to see it
And then they bring
overhead
it
again,
back.
and then they do it again. I'm like, oh yeah, let's go.
I just love that whole Paris sequence, man. It was such a good
Really
final
good.
third
and
act.
all three action scenes fucking rule.
Yeah. So how exactly does it? Because they it's one big set piece in Paris, but it's all many separate set pieces that are seamlessly sort of blend together, right?
So
where does it start?
So it starts him getting out of the boat with the Bowery King and Winston.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "How close can you get me to the church?" And it's just like, it's such a great John Wick premise. It's that he needs to get to this church by dawn.
It's very video gamey, like drop off at the start of the level.
Yep.
Fucking-
You're on the clock. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it fucking rules. But then like there's just this line with Bill Skarsgård and his like very imposing, and from what we've seen, very sort of, knows how to use his hands, knows how to fight, kind of heavy.
Yeah.
He says to him, it's just like, well, I have a feeling he won't get there in time for dawn. And,
Yeah.
and the guy goes, message received.
Yeah, I
And it's
got
just-
it.
Yeah. And so it sets up that, and then there's a $26 million thing on his head, and then it goes to 40, and and just like
Every Frenchman.
It's the Warriors.
Yeah.
Every gang wants a
Totally,
piece.
yeah.
the warrior,
Yeah.
and every henchman that wants to get killed by John Wick.
Yeah. Yeah, and so they have that.
So it
that
starts out with he comes out, and there's the car. Basically, he gets hit by a car right away.
right.
And there's some fighting there, but then it goes to the
Champs-Élysées,
Champs-Élysées.
Yeah.
So it's this big roundabout.
Yep.
And there's a big fight scene there. Literally, he's fighting this big guy, this Bill Skarsgård heavy, in the middle of fucking traffic.
Yeah.
And Chad Stahelski even said in this interview I listened to, he's just like, I'm just doing the same choreography I always do, but there's traffic around them, and they're almost getting hit by cars.
And many of
That's
them
good.
do get hit by cars.
Yeah.
Including Keanu several times.
And Keanu falls down so much in this
Yeah,
movie.
well, and then they get to that the sort of final set piece before the duel, the stairs. Which is, if we're tracking this whole Greek, again, $5 word, Homeric. Oh, I love that word. It just sounds I sound so smart when I say it. Homeric. Yeah, Homer. Marge. Oh, I don't want to walk up all the stairs.
Margic.
I can't do a Homer.
No, that's good.
Oh. I can.
Marge, the kids are
easy
dead,
one,
Marge.
The easy one is Homer season 1, where it's like Bart.
Yeah, where he sounds like
Boy.
Walter Matthau.
Yeah.
Frosty chocolate milkshakes.
I was telling Ben that I'm spending a few days in Paris this summer.
Oh.
And I'm gonna go to those stairs and I'm gonna dance to Justice's Genesis dressed as the Joker.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
You're gonna get there, and there's gonna be one other guy who's like also but a different. He's the Jared Leto Joker,
Yeah.
and
Or
you're
Cesar
like,
Romero Joker.
yeah, and you're like,
No, he's just as Morbius.
yeah. You become best
So
friends.
do you want to go first or?
So
You're holding each other's cameras. But sorry, I was saying, in tracking the, if you want to be
Greek about it.
hyperbolic and Greek about it, you call it a Greek epic. Although I understand why people are doing that. But, the myth of Sisyphus, baby.
Mm-hmm.
You have to imagine Sisyphus as happy, kicking ass.
So he fights his way up the stairs, and like a scene where I was literally writhing in my chair, just like, like going, oh my God, like lifting up.
Joel was kind of like a cam girl humping a pillow.
Yeah, honestly. And I was like my arms are all around me, because he would shoot someone, be fighting someone, that person would be sliding down, and then he'd turn, shoot them in the head, and then they die and fall down the rest of the stairs. Gets to the top.
Such an undignified way to go,
Incredible. And then he gets to the top, and there's that heavy
Yep.
that's been tasked not to let him get to the church by dawn, who is good, and I don't know who that guy is.
I also don't know. I'm going to look it up.
He knocks him down the stairs, and it's... And we remember when he and Common fell down those stairs in John Wick 2, and that's always been one of my favorite scenes in John Wick franchise. This one ones up that to a very hefty degree.
It's good.
He falls down.
He gets
So
Damien
many
Carras.
He does. Yes.
Well, I was going to say that Chad Stahelski, in that Matt Singer interview, it says, I saw those stairs and I thought, this is like The Exorcist.
This is what should have happened in The Exorcist.
And then he goes... the line, I screenshotted it to read it out, but the line is basically he thinks, because he was scoping for the Champs-Élysées and then went for a walk and saw those stairs, and he goes, oh, this is going to be the final scene.
Yeah.
John Wick's going to fall down these fucking stairs.
It is perfect because, you're expecting a lot of big things out of this movie and some giant climax, some really elaborate, whatever, Mission Impossible style, all these moving pieces, set piece. And then there's so many things like that in the movie, and it ends with something that is so simple. You just have to get to the top of the stairs. Perfect. Like it, you know what I mean? The simplicity of that.
And then Genesis by Justice Place.
Yeah, and also your good friend Donnie Yen is there to give you a hand and save your ass before you have to shoot each other to death.
He's so good.
Oh, he's so good on the stairs too. It's
And then I love that the dog and the tracker, who have had a relationship with this heavy, are the ones that kill the heavy.
Yeah, because he hates the dog.
Yeah,
and yes, he's who John Wick saves the dog from.
Right.
And that's why the dog pleads with the tracker not to kill John Wick in that moment.
I really felt for John because I tried doing the Stairmaster a few times at the gym for cardio, and it fucking sucks. And like to get to the top of the stairs and then have to go back up, I was like, I would just quit right there. I would just lay down and die.
Another quote from Chad Stahelski in this Matt Singer interview, and it reminded me a lot of the Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi stuff, is he says, Keanu Reeves hates stairs.
Oh yeah, we put him through it.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, this is like John Wick is it's gonna be real how much he hates this.
Let's torture him.
Yeah.
That's cute that they do that to each other. They rig each other like that.
Well, yeah, it really does remind me of the Evil Dead. All the stories from the Evil Dead.
They put him through it, all right. Let's do just a couple of quick shout outs to some actors we didn't quite mention. So the tracker / Mr. Nobody, Shamier Anderson, who I hadn't seen before, but I think he is in.
So good.
He's great.
There was a few things.
He's sort
what
of like
is it?
The Eli Wallach.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, no, I haven't seen any of these movies, but Marco Zaror is Chidi, the right-hand man, the heavy. He's a Chilean martial artist and actor. He is. Would be down to, if he's the lead in some Chilean DTV stuff. I think he probably is. He is in Alita Battle Angel. Actually.
Oh, I like
one
that
of those
movie.
guys. Yeah, that's a really cool movie. And then somebody we didn't mention, Clancy Brown.
Oh yeah,
as the Harbinger.
The Harbinger.
Yeah, that was cool.
I wonder
Mr.
if
Krabs.
It would have been great. I guess not, but I would have liked to see the Adjudicator.
Again.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. He's
No.
he's
different.
The Harbinger's there. Well, yeah, because the Adjudicator doesn't really get to fight either.
Mm-hmm.
No,
in that movie. Yeah, actually, it should have been the Adjudicator, right?
Well, they're kind of different characters.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
The Harbinger kind of is a little less of the rules, The Adjudicator is basically just there to give the rules, I guess. I don't know. Could have been the Adjudicator.
They all abide by the trinket-based economy, though.
Mm-hmm.
And the Harbinger shows up with a giant fucking hourglass. It's got this big suitcase and it's just got an hourglass.
And then he goes to see Bill Skarsgård and it's on the same, he knows exactly when Clancy Brown turned the hourglass around.
It's so good. I love how reliant on trinkets these assassins are. They're like magpies.
Yeah, we didn't talk about how the I want to say Centennial. Why am I forgetting this word? The hotel. What's it called?
Continental.
Yeah.
The New York Continental gets exploded.
Oh, demolished. Yeah.
Not really. It's still standing.
It's still standing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. How do you do that?
It's weird. Yeah.
I mean,
nobody notices. There are no cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have the police tape up, so
do they?
Yeah, eventually.
Well, Paris has no cops. They're all busy dealing with the riots.
Yeah, that's funny.
Paris.
Yeah, Paris has really been going through it because before, obviously when John Wick was there, lots of people were getting killed, a lot of collateral damage, and then after John Wick is killed, Paris gets maybe a month off, and then boom, it's right into riots. It's been tough.
Yeah.
And
then Mission Impossible 6 happens.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah. Paris, man.
Paris is burning.
Yeah. I think that's a good opportunity to say Macron décapitation, as they say in Paris. Not really, though. I don't, but he should be, guillotined if
and
possible.
drawn and quartered.
Yeah. They all should be.
That's fine.
We have a couple of things to wrap up, but let's say the ending of the movie, the final bit, the duel. What do we sort of think, and also where the movie actually ends up? Right.
I was sad because I kind of knew that I was like, "There's not gonna like." Once I saw the stairway, and I remember hearing like the tracks from the first couple John Wick movies come back. And what's the different is they're non-diegetic, so they're just playing like being scored like Castlevania songs, and I was like, this really feels like a last movie.
Yeah,
this is really feeling like a last movie. I think I don't think there's going to be a fifth movie, and I was like, I see John get shot, and I was like, I think he's dead. I think this is it.
He gets shot 3 times. Yeah.
I think it's just his persona.
They're all ambiguously. It's the movie thing where you get shot in the arm and the shoulder and maybe the side or the gut.
This is the question I wanted to ask you guys. Yeah. I think there's going to be a fifth one. I think it's just his the idea of John Wick has died and he'll be working as a fisherman or something. What would your badass subtitle be that would encompass all your like hopes and dreams for John Wick 5, like a weird Latin subtitle be for the fifth movie, if there is one?
I have one.
Parabellum,
yeah. I have one. Disjecta membra. John Wick Chapter 5, Disjecta membra, which is Latin for scattered limbs. It's pretty hardcore.
I like that one too.
Yeah,
I don't know. Hardcore. I don't know Latin.
That is the only Latin
Vini
phrase.
vidi vici.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Quid pro quo, Mr. Wick.
Yeah.
John Wick 5, quid pro quo.
Yeah. Oh, just sorry. There's one more thing. I know we're on
it's okay.
Time crunch. There's one more thing that I loved in this movie that's in between one of the sequences is when Winston goes to visit the Marquis at the Louvre.
Yes.
And the Louvre is introduced in a long walking scene.
Yes.
We spoke about that.
On
No. When we came out of the theater.
Oh,
yeah. As we were walking in Toronto's version of the Louvre, the Scotiabank Cinema, walking past posters for 80 for Brady and
the Mario movie.
Mario, yes,
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
I don't think it's an 80 for Brady poster anymore. It's a Book Club 2 poster.
I just like saying 80 for Brady.
Yeah. I saw that movie.
Was it good?
Nope.
No,
it sucked.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
It was a absolute. It was just a commercial for the NFL.
Yeah, it's too bad.
But yeah, when he walked in, and then sorry, I keep bringing up these interviews with Chad that I listened to.
No, that's good.
He was like, the big thing I had to cut from the movie was all these walking scenes. Every scene started with a walking in scene.
Dude, that's so funny.
You were right.
Because I was saying, like, when I was like, didn't you I was like, that scene where he's walking and it's only like for 30 seconds, but I was like, that was Chad Stahelski's like, I'm doing a slow cinema Bellatar film or something like that.
Well, he had. I need to go back.
We have to stop bringing up Bellatar.
No,
he had an analog for what he was trying to do with those walk-in scenes.
Oh, okay.
I'll when I come back for Good, the Bad,
You place your bets. You're going to say it's Bellatar. I'm going to say it's the guy who saw the Bellatar movie and made his own version of it, Gus Van Sant, with Jerry. Jerry.
It was in a podcast, so I can't I can't tell you what it was right now.
We'll get it back. Let us know, and we'll drop it in at some point. Yeah, I think in another movie you wouldn't notice that scene, but because the pacing there's no other scene like that in that movie that takes that much time between. Like that probably is the longest shot, the longest held length, like average shot length.
Well, other than
situation, right?
Than the crane shot up above Hotline Miami scene.
Yeah, potentially real, potentially CGI assisted one or
So the first time John falls down the stairs on the stairwell, that's a oneer, and apparently it's the real oneer.
Cool.
It's John's. Keanu's stunt double.
Yeah.
Vincent, whatever, and he actually fell down those stairs.
Price.
Damn, Vincent Price. Yeah,
Vincent Price.
I wish I could.
Ow!
Yeah, there you go. Good. I can't do it. I wish I could.
Yeah, the duel is great though. It's 30 paces and 10 paces and then 10.
Yeah. It's classic stuff. Yeah, I sort of a childhood dream of mine to be a second in a duel. Like if everything goes to plan, it's a pretty easy gig.
Right.
Of course, on the other hand, you might get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, only in the world of this movie.
Oh no! In real dueling, if you're the second, there's a situation where you do it. You potentially will have to fight.
That
I don't think you
Barry
get
Lyndon.
sacrificed.
Okay.
Not like that.
I also love that chance game they play when they're trying to pick.
Trinket-based
the location.
economy. Yeah, they play
the cards. Yeah, fuck, I forgot. Man, that would. The only thing, the way that scene could have been improved if they played
Magic the Gathering.
Magic the Gathering. Yeah. No, Chance Cube from Phantom Menace with Watto, where he's like, "We'll decide with a game of Chance Cube," and it's just a die with it's blue and red.
It's a D20.
How do you even? Yeah. No credits, only money.
That shot though of playing that game, it's very symmetrical, and then in the middle is the Eiffel Tower.
Yep. Yeah. That's
cool.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a handsome film,
So how would you guys rank the John Wick movies?
Oh yeah, and then John Wick dies.
Yes,
Sorry,
he dies.
so spoilers.
And then his gravestone says "loving husband."
Loving husband.
He loved his wife.
Next to Helen Wick. I always, for some reason, thought that he had a different, like maybe Jovanovic would be on his.
Yeah, no, John Wick. And it says he's like, "What do you want on your gravestone? Loving husband."
Loving husband.
Try to downplay. Don't say I killed 1,000 people across the 4 films.
Mass murderer.
Yeah.
Well, I got a lump in my throat because you kind of forget when they're talking about gravestones, right? And then he gets out of the boat and just turns back and says, "Loving husband. That's what I want on that tombstone." I'm like, oh, that's. And then cut to the greatest action scene of all time.
I don't think he's dead, man. I think
he's dead. And I it almost felt unceremonious at the end, but at the same time I was like, that movie proved itself as a last series in a character franchise, even though there's going to be spin-offs and all this stuff. A ballerina movie directed by fucking Len Wiseman.
And John Wick 5, Veni, Vidi,
Vici.
Limbus.
Yeah.
What was your thing, Ben? Multico Limbus.
Oh, disjecta membra.
That's it.
I have...
Oh, yeah, one really quick. So I just wanted to check if somebody has already counted John Wick's kills. Mm-hmm. So according to a Twitter user who I will not shout out because I don't know them and they don't deserve
Gina
it.
Carano.
Yeah, Donald Trump. He's back. John Wick 4 on-screen confirmed kill count, like for the whole movie, and then also John Wick himself. So do you want to take a guess? Remember, it was 77 in the first one, 128, and then 90-something.
I'm going to guess 200.
Okay.
Wow. I think it was more than the third one, but I don't know if it's...
Does it beat the record?
Of 128? I think maybe, but not that much. I'm going to say 140.
You're going to say...
140.
140?
Yeah.
140.
Wow. John Wick Chapter 40.
You didn't look it up, right?
No.
Listen, according to this Twitter user that then...
Who might be wrong.
Who was
just someone watching it in the theater being like, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I'm going to credit him because now that I read his handle, it's funny. His name is Rajesh. His handle, @gifted_geek. So, yeah, some gifted geek was there with his clicker, counting. So, according to him and a couple of these, whatever... Dweebs that have picked it up, 140.
What do I get?
I don't know, man. Whatever you want tonight, baby.
So I just thought of something. In a few years, and it doesn't really have anything to do with this other than the word 40, and a certain man we were talking about earlier. I have a pitch for a movie.
Sorry.
No, not quite. It's in a few years from now. It's a period piece about 2023 where 4 middle-aged men go on a crusade to uncancel Justin Roiland, and it's called 40 for Morty.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Listeners, you made it this far.
I beat the charges, Morty.
Yeah.
But they're not bringing him back.
I'm an alt-right martyr, Marty. No.
Yeah.
He was fired from everything. It's just, I don't know. Like in his little shitty non-apology / vindictive, I was right and you were wrong and I did nothing wrong.
One of the worst tweets I've ever seen.
Terrible tweet. He mentions like, I'm looking forward to starting all my creative projects and this and that. It's like, well, I'm sure you're going to be able to get something together, but I don't think you're going to ever,
Ben,
you know,
Shapiro's production company.
Oh yeah, whatever Daily Wire movies and shit.
So how would you guys rank?
All right. Sorry, you keep asking us this.
No,
I have
a
hyperbolic. I just saw John Wick 4 last night, and it's the greatest movie of all time. Ranking.
Love that. Yeah.
Maybe in a few years I'll disagree with myself, but I'm
actually. Before we do that, how many of Killa's gold teeth out of 10 that you take as proof of death would you give this movie?
10.
10 out of 10. There you go.
Okay. You know, again, I think I got to go 8, but that could change. You know, I'm just I want to downplay it. I want to.
You're the smart one. I'm the crazy fucked up one. I'm the one that.
Yeah, I'm the smart one. Yeah. If that's the case, then boy, we're fucked here.
I'm also the smart one because I will also say 8. But I thoroughly enjoyed all of them.
I know.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I get guys. I get like this when I love a movie.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And so do I too.
Mm-hmm.
Except the movies that I really get into, they're movies like Deep End, movies like
Salsasar. So here's my ranking.
Yeah.
4, 3, 1, 2.
4, 3,
okay.
1, 2. Respect.
Yeah.
Ben.
I gotta put 2 at the top just because I know that's
funny.
I know that's weird. I know that's weird.
It's wrong or anything. I'm just saying it's funny that
it's a weird thing. It's just that it was the one that I wasn't expecting.
Right.
And then after that, I enjoyed the surprises of 3 and 4, but I think I knew what I was getting in for,
right.
and the joy of realizing where these movies were going and what these sequels were, kind of warped my mind a little bit.
Sure.
So I got to go 2, and then, geez, if it's between 4 and 3, that's really tough. I think I might put 4 and then 3 and then 1.
I think I'm the same.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
And then one thing I wanted to mention
2, 4, 3, 1.
Yeah. That I was saying to Alex as we were leaving the theater. Aside from the Magic Mike films, which I think are all very good, this is the most consistent franchise we've done so far. Talking about Paranormal Activity, Die Hard.
You did Paranormal Activity?
That was our first one.
Oh, my God.
For Halloween.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that. I thought you started with Die Hard.
And this, to me, had higher highs than Magic Mike. Like, John Wick 2, for me, was an experience I think like you had with Magic Mike XXL.
Still probably my favorite film we've done so far.
I had so much fun with
movie.
John Wick 2.
Yeah, so did I.
Really, really enjoyed it. Actually, round of applause to Chad, to Keanu.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
Yeah. To the whole team, to all the
Lance
actors.
Reddick.
Lance Reddick, absolutely.
Ian McShane.
Yeah.
It's an incredible franchise, and I love it, and I was really grateful to be able to talk about it on a podcast.
Dude, we loved having you on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Marty, too.
And Marty, too, yeah.
The whole reason I wanted to come on is so I could give Scott Adkins context, and I guess I did that last week, kind of.
We talked about him, but we'll just have to come back when pops up in some other franchise.
He's in the first...
Blair Witch.
Yeah.
He's in the first Doctor Strange.
Well, we're not going to be doing that for a while, God willing.
Yeah, he rules. Actually, you could do like a 1-2 punch of the Debt Collector movies or the Accident Man movies.
That's very interesting because I think now is the time to introduce what we're going to do next.
Oh yeah.
So do you want to?
I was just going to say maybe before that, listeners, have you bought your tickets to Joel's taping yet? Because if you haven't, you're fucking dumb.
Well, you're out of luck for the 8:30 show, but the 10 p.m. There are tickets left to that on April 22nd. My album recording.
Yeah, and listen to the Merge Boot Survivor podcast
my
as well.
Survivor podcast.
A friend of mine saw you perform stand-up comedy live in Hamilton, and they said you were funny.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that is one recommendation there from
Maria from Hamilton.
Maria from Hamilton.
Hell yeah.
Maria from Hamilton raves. I laughed.
Joel Edmiston is funny.
I think we're doing something pretty funny here next.
We're doing a bit of a left turn.
We're doing a bit of a left turn. You might say these John Wick movies, they've been popular. Episodes seem to be doing well. They're of the moment. People are excited. It is a true franchise.
Yeah.
And when we define what a franchise is, which we are going to do in the next episode, certainly, it's a financial thing. I think a lot of the time. And is a thematic trilogy by a director a franchise? I think we can pretty much say, no, it's not. But we're going to do one anyway. And you know why? It's because we want to. Are we running out of franchises? No, certainly not.
A lot there.
And why?
Man's franchises right there.
Yeah, and you might say, why are you doing a non-franchise before you get to Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or whatever? It's because we want to, and because we want to actually watch some interesting things.
Yeah, got me on the edge of my seat. I want to know
that might activate a different a section of our brain than the John Wick section and the Die Hard section.
Do you like Ben's Italian accent? Because you're in for a treat.
I'm going to try to limit it to 5 minutes per episode, but I will introduce it with the Italian accent. We are going to explore 3 films and maybe a bonus, and then several other films as an addition. The work of Pier Paolo Pasolini. I'm making you a nice movie. Why you not like?
Hey, la Trilogy of Life.
Yeah, the Trilogy de Life.
Okay.
We're going into Pasolini's Trilogy of Life. That's the Decameron, the Canterbury Tales, and Arabian Nights. These are saucy. These are queer. These
Body.
are funny. These are body and ribbled.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 keywords here.
There's going to be... I know, if you've already tuned out at the mere mention of Italian cinema from the 70s and late 60s, don't worry, there's going to be nudity. There's going to be smoking cigarettes. There's going to be children. It's going to be great. It's
going to be good. There was, I think, maybe, some brief dong in the Magic Mike movies. Not really, And also, if there was, they were prosthetics. These movies, there's a lot of dicks from them, and they're real.
I honestly, I'm lost, guys.
I haven't seen... This is something we're doing too. I think also both of us really want to catch up on Pasolini movies and get into Pasolini movies. I've
only seen 2.
And I've only seen 1. It is a great shame for me. And I think every listener who knows who Pasolini is can guess the one movie that both of us have seen.
Maybe we'll talk about it. Sallow,
which is a very IMDb message board core. What's the most fucked up movie ever made? And that's how I first heard about it ages ago. When I was a kid.
I actually first heard about it because don't ask why, but in high school I was on the Wikipedia page for films that featured coprophagy, which is the eating of shit.
Oh, there's some shit eating in this movie. Yeah, you better believe it. So similar to how we had you on because you love DTV action.
We're gonna have no one on.
We're gonna have a shit eater on. we're gonna have a couple of shit eaters on and a couple of
sorry, I couldn't help
nymphomaniacs. Yeah. So I think these are going to be great. And something that we wanted to do for these is something I definitely want to do. I know you've seen Theorema or Theorem.
Yep.
I want to catch up with at least one additional movie from the period before he made these films. These are his 70s films before he was tragically assassinated. Yeah, wow. And we're going to talk about that as well. I'm a little nervous. Might get in over our heads. It's pretty easy to talk about Paranormal Activity and jerk off and whatever.
Yeah.
But these ones, I think we're going to want to do some research. We're going to want to.
I was reading about this guy recently.
Oh, amazing! Famous. A public intellectual, a poet.
This is going to put all 5 of our brain cells to work.
Yeah, we're going to try really hard not to completely embarrass ourselves, but also have fun.
Yes,
because these movies are fun. I haven't seen any of these, but from what I understand, they're going to be a good time. There's going to be nudity.
Sex.
But we want to explore some of his other ones, maybe Gospel According to St. Matthew. Theorem, I'm definitely going to watch.
Acetone.
Yeah, who knows? Pigsty, Oedipus Rex. That sounds fun. I know what that one's about. The Fablemans.
It'll be Fable Mill. I have a Fable Mill complex.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we're doing next.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. That's really neat.
Yeah, I think we built
creative.
We built up some goodwill with the John Wick movies, and we're throwing it all away, baby.
Classic
This is a Ben move.
Yeah, I think I may have suggested it. I think maybe you did. Even, right?
I'm all for this movie.
I just have known Ben longer. That's
it is a Ben move. Yeah. So we're excited for no one to listen to these episodes.
What's like a popular album that was followed up with like a really audience like?
Oh yeah, I don't know,
like the only thing I could think of is MGMT, and that's not even that strong because their second album is way popular.
Yeah, like a sophomore slump, you mean, or whatever. I don't know, or like a Pinkertons.
Oh, sure, yeah. This is our Pinkerton.
Yeah, we're gonna really bare our souls.
What's the Chris Christopherson movie that Deer Hunter guy did?
Oh, Gates of Heaven.
Oh, Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah. This miniseries we're doing is going to bankrupt the franchises. If we don't get that money coming in, we currently make zero. We're going to actually make negative money off of this.
We're going to be on the street.
People are going to rob us on this. People are going to Pasolini us. Hopefully not.
Brown Bunny.
Brown Bunny 2 coming out in this summer.
Really?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I think Vincent Gallo may be in director jail and maybe should be in real jail.
He's actually the guy that fell down the stairs for Keanu Reeves. It was Vincent Gallo.
I love Buffalo 66. If they do Buffalo 67, I'm there. Yeah.
Joel, do you have any plugs?
Other than the album taping, and obviously my album will be out this year once it's taped. And then the Merge Boot podcast. And I guess my Instagram, you can come to see other shows if you want.
Great.
If you live in Toronto. Or I'm also in Montreal in April 5th, 14th, or 15th.
And give us a follow on your favorite podcast listening service and a 5-star rating if you'd be so kind, and recommend us to your friends.
Yeah. And I think just to take us out as we close off the episode, we say goodbye to the John Wick franchise, which I just want to reiterate. I mean, I know you've listened to these, so you can tell, but we've all had a really good time. I really enjoyed these. So just to say goodbye to our good friend, Giordani, we're going to play a little bit of a fan cam that friend of the pod and soon-to-be guest of the pod, I'm sure, Catherine, Tragic Mushrooms with a Z on Twitter. Go see, because you can't see the fan cam. Go watch the fan cam. It's very funny.
Good name.
It is the official John Wick Hoobastank fan cam. So goodbye, Giordani, and thank you for everything you've done. And you know what? If you come back in John Wick 5, we're going to be there opening night.
Buone notte, Pasolini.
Genesis by Justice.
Anyway, come back next week for Italian Dick.
Amore.
Well, the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie.
Oh, and guys, one more thing. Loving husband.
So tell me, Jonathan, why do you wish to live?
My wife, Helen. To remember her. To remember us.
So you seek to live for the memory of love?
At least a chance to earn it.